Hello and welcome to Witness. I'm Raggy Omar. The United States is a land of plenty. It is one of the world's major producers of food. But every year, an incredible 36 billion kilos of food is wasted, thrown away before it ever reaches anyone's dinner table. Many excuses are made for throwing food away, ranging from consumer health and safety to budgeted wastage in commercial agriculture. But in one of the world's richest societies, some find it morally offensive to see perfectly good food being thrown away when there are hungry people who need it. Now, Americans like Jonathan Muser have taken it upon themselves to rescue food from the rubbish heap and to challenge the whole system of food distribution using very unconventional methods. Patrick Woodward went with his camera to follow people scavenging for food in the land of plenty.
It's delicious.
In the town where I went to college, there's more than we can really do, and usually we do this at night, so we're taking a big risk by coming here during the daytime. Some friends and I have gotten together to go dumpster diving.
It tastes fine. I wouldn't drink it if it wasn't. I would know, I think, if it was.
We're checking out the trash behind a supermarket, searching for perfectly good food that someone else has thrown away.
This is basically about this box right here, probably about 20 or 30 pounds of vegetables like this.
Think it's good, John?
Maybe 40.
Davis, California is a college town, and dumpster diving has traditionally been a way students could find a free meal.
There's some lettuce, there's some... to my knowledge, this just goes. This just goes to the trash. Sacramento Bacon Company.
Fresh baked in 8 minutes.
Hey, the rats have gotten to it.
But our real purpose is to demonstrate that in the United States, as much as 40% of the food produced never makes it to anyone's table. That's $80 billion worth of food.
The Society of St. Andrew makes the claim that if we could glean all the food that is left over, we could feed the world, just from what is in America.
Because there's a lot of produce here that's just going to be plowed down.
Farmers who grow food, the companies that sell it,
we're open 362 days a year.
and the individuals who buy it end up wasting a lot of it. And I've always wondered why.
This the Nashville Farmers Market. It's a wonderful market. We'll probably have about 96, 97% of whatever you buy at a grocery store.
Customers here expect quality, and they're willing to pay for it. But what I find amazing is what happens at the end of the day.
Roughly just on any given day, you may throw away 15, 20 pounds at least. I've thrown away that many apples, that is reality. But like
Every day, Douglas Gunnels watches customers turn their noses up when his fruit or vegetables don't pass close inspection. Even the tiniest blemish can't escape scrutiny.
Right, a consumer will not come and buy something with a spot on it like that. I mean, they just won't do it. There's your red tomato, perfectly good tomato.
Doug figures that 75% of the food he throws away is edible, and he's just one vendor at one market.
This right here is the produce that the vendors have deemed unsellable.
Every day, Jeff Middlebrooks retrieves discarded produce that would otherwise be tossed in the trash.
This is the first step as we go around the market and just looking at see who's culled through their produce, who has decided what they cannot sell for the day.
Jeff says he can only take about half the edible food that the merchants here get rid of. So every week, more than a ton of food ends up in the dumpster.
Oh yeah, that's a good tomato there. Whew. Man, that'd be a prize this time of year. That's good tomato.
Food waste in the United States starts in the field.
And I've been farming all my life.
Hank Devlin has already harvested his crops, but with the large-scale and highly mechanized techniques used in modern farming, there's a lot that the machines leave behind.
They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Well, they are real good.
Hank says to go back and harvest crops that his machines couldn't pick up the first time would cost more than he could make selling them.
We're farming on a large scale, so we have a large amount of produce that goes to waste if it's, if we can't find a source for it, a home for it, you might say.
Oh, we got some pork ling sausage. If this was still frozen, I might actually take it out of here. Nothing's worth dumpster diving if it's going to make you ill, and I've never been ill from dumpster diving. This is the other extreme in the food waste chain. Supermarkets that routinely throw out edible food on a huge scale.
This is basically romaine lettuce, red cabbage and carrots, and this box weighs about maybe 30, 35
Green
pounds.
onions.
Green onions.
Food in supermarkets gets thrown away if it hasn't sold by the time a new shipment comes in. It's tossed if it hasn't sold by a specific date on the package that's supposed to assure consumers that what they're buying is safe.
That's going with us.
But in our years of dumpster diving, we've learned to rely more on our senses than on the date on a package.
Is it good? It should be. I mean, a sandwich you put in your kid's lunchbox is supposed to last the afternoon at room temperature. And here it is, you know?
Salty. It's really
Yeah, that's
salty.
another means by which they preserve it.
Water, honey.
Well, salt and nitrates, it's delicious. I mean,
The question I've always had is if so much of this food is still good, why do the big grocery corporations just get rid of it instead of donating it?
It's not as if no one needs it.
The product that you see in here comes from a number of sources.
Kevin Segelke is president of the Food Bank of the Rockies, a hunger relief agency based in Denver, Colorado.
In northern Colorado and Wyoming, the territory that we're serving, we're going to serve over 312,000 people at any given point in time. They're going to access emergency food.
Segelke says food manufacturers and retailers do donate food, quite a bit of it. In fact, he says it would be almost impossible to run this food bank without the donations that come from supermarkets. But those donations usually come with an abundance of caution.
You can see this product has a best buy date of December 15th of '06. The reality is it has a manufacturing code date probably of 6 months or 9 months or maybe even a year past that date. There's always a fear from the retailer standpoint. They want to make sure that the product they're donating is still consumable, it's still good for people. So there was some trepidation and some fear on their part in releasing food, particularly meats, releasing meats to organizations like Food Bank of the Rockies that run donation programs rather than just throwing it away.
That trepidation may have something to do with lawsuits, or at least the fear of being sued for donating food that might cause someone to get sick or die. Hunger relief workers say supermarket officials tell them the threat of litigation limits what they can donate.
I personally pick up things 3 times a week from Safeway, and most of the time all that they're willing to give me are bakery items. And it kills me to see the refrigerated pasta and the cheeses and the yogurt, things that really aren't going to spoil if they don't have refrigeration for a couple hours or if they're a few days past their expiration date. And they just won't give out any of that.
But a number of states, including Colorado, have enacted Good Samaritan laws that protect food retailers from lawsuits they might face if they accidentally donate spoiled food. Of course, the supermarket corporations also have a profit motive. After all, they're in the business of selling food.
how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Officials for corporate supermarkets generally won't say much publicly about the amount of food they throw out, or why they don't make it more easily accessible to people. They wouldn't talk to us on camera, except to hassle us about going through their trash.
We're not making a mess or anything, so.
Whatever their motives, I've adopted a non-confrontational approach.
If somehow we cause a problem with management here, and they keep it inside or they lock it up in a more secure way, then that means that they're going to just do a better job of getting this stuff into the landfill instead of into the mouths of people who will eat it. And so I try to be respectful in that way by keeping the area clean, not destroying and making a huge mess of the area, and staying out of their way so that they don't feel it necessary to stop putting it in a place where we can get access to it. You know?
We leave with armfuls of produce, fruit, and bread. There's more than enough to feed ourselves and some friends for the next few days. And we left plenty behind.
That's typical for this location. That's a very typical thing we call the Tower of Power, which is ironic. You know, it has power. There's food, there's energy, there's chemical energy that can be utilized by people. It's being underutilized and wasted, essentially. In a country where there's lots of people that are still going hungry every single day. It's all right. We're just gonna recycle it. No. It's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. Don't worry. Okay, we're leaving. Come on, Joe. We gotta go.
Usually, we try to avoid interacting with store employees, but on occasion it does happen.
I guess that was a store manager or somebody said, you guys aren't stealing our trash, are you? Which I find philosophically to be rather intriguing, the concept of stealing trash.
I think there's some shame involved that I don't think anyone would want to be exposed as someone who throws away perfectly good food. I think that's something every human being can relate to. It's not a good idea to throw away good food. And, personally, if I were in someone's position who was throwing away good food like that, I wouldn't want to be known to be the responsible person, or, you know, wouldn't want anyone to know I was throwing away all that good food.
It may not be a good idea, but it's reality. In a nation where 30 million people live below the poverty level, 100 billion pounds of food ends up in landfills every year. Not only do I think it's wasteful, I believe it's unnecessary. And my goal is to find people with the vision and the courage to change a system that keeps food from people who need it.
When we return, we'll see how some charitable organizations are trying to tap into this mountain of wasted food.